everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the GVGCast, where we hang out, chat with all of you, and see what's been happening over the past week. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined by my good friend and partner, John Cartwright, in the tub. We finally got it, and we finally got him on the show again.
It's been a long time, yeah. I will say, in my tub right now, my foot is off camera. My foot is resting against the end of the tub. And my tap, it has like a little drip that I can't stop. Sometimes you can sort of turn the tap a bit and the drip will stop, but it always comes back. So right now, I've got a little stream of water just flowing onto my foot. That's the behind the scenes of the tub.
We're slowly water torturing you.
Yeah.
Toe to head to toe. Well, toe to head, I guess, at this point.
Gotta happen.
And I love that you had Roxy set up the good vibes in the background. It's kind of hard to see because of the way we have it cut off.
You see it now?
Yeah, a little bit. There it is.
Yeah. We say we got Roxy, but she did it herself. I told her that I was going to be doing the stream in the tub. She said, okay. And then a little bit of time passed. I came up here and just the word good vibes are behind me. So this is my new office pretty much. Yeah, I think this should be my new set from now on.
I mean, yeah, everybody should come stream for the tub apparently. Although I can tell from experience last week, it's not comfortable. It is not comfortable in the slightest.
It'll be more comfortable if water were here. Like a tub with no water is basically just a big plastic.
Oh, you didn't actually fill it up. Okay.
Oh, are we meant to be filling the tubs up?
I mean, the rest of us put water in it. I didn't realize you didn't know that. That's all right. We still got
I've got my tap dripping. Does that count?
Yeah, that counts. We're getting you. We're getting you there. You're
wait,
wet.
Have you been fully submersed in water while wearing clothes?
Yes.
I've missed out on a rule here.
I think so. That's all right. I mean, I was just in swim trunks and then a shirt in the water. But yeah, there was water dripping and all that. Maybe that's why I was a little bit more miserable than you.
Maybe.
I
think I prefer the water. I think the water would make this just a bit more. No, it's weirder just sitting in an empty bath.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't even know where to go from that, but I mean, I could say you could fill it up now, but I don't know if you want to do that with all the electronic equipment.
It'd be a bit noisy. I mean, I imagine the audio quality already isn't very good. So can we make it worse than this? Would it matter? I don't know.
I don't know. Before all that, though, we do, of course, have to thank our wonderful sponsor. The Game Orb is a YouTube and Twitch channel that brings commentary and gameplay footage from the Nintendo Switch and Xbox Series X gaming systems. He recently went to both New York Comic Con and Las Vegas TwitchCon within a week and captured the expo halls like at the PAX conventions. And while they might not all be game related, they are still something neat to look at. The Con one is up now on YouTube, and the TwitchCon one will be coming up in the next few days. Also, while there may not be a lot of uploads as of late, starting soon, they will increase by a good chunk. So keep an eye out for that. And finally, PC gaming uploads will be starting to come to the YouTube channel at some point, as they have been appearing on the Twitch channel with Genshin Impact after meeting a few of the voice actresses from PAX West back in September. While there technically have been a few PC videos before, there will be more incorporated from here on out. So if you want to support the Game Orb on the YouTube or Twitch, we got links to both his Twitch and YouTube channels in the description below. So check that out. So yeah, they've been a busy bee, for sure.
Yeah, meeting all the Genshin voice actresses and actors is pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I still remember I had a preview event for Persona 5 Royal, and they actually had a couple of the actors there as part of the whole thing. And Amy's actually was streaming Persona 5 at the time, so I was able to get I forget her. I should know her name because she's in a ton of stuff now, and she's Black Cat and Spider-Man. Voice
Was
of
it Cassandra?
Voice of
no, Futaba.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know her name too, but it's escaping me.
Erica Lindbeck, thank you.
That's it. Yeah.
I see her all the time. I just don't know why I forgot all of a sudden. But yeah, she. I talked to her, asked for a quick message, and she did the voice of Futaba on my phone, and I sent it. I messaged Amy, and she played it on her stream, and that was a fun little experience.
That's awesome. Yeah.
They had They had Lindbeck there. They had Laura Post voice, who was the voice of Kasumi as well.
Hmm.
So that was cool. So
Yeah, cool.
yeah. So how have you been, John? What have you been up to? It's been a while since we've had you on. Have you been doing well?
I've been doing okay. What have I been doing with my life recently? I don't think I've been on here since Freddie was born, right?
It's been a while. I think even way
Yeah.
before Freddie was born.
Yeah, so yeah, if for those who don't know, I have had another child. He's good. He's had some problems from his birth, where he's got a disease called Velcad, which basically means he can't have any fats in his diet, and if he has any fats, then his body shuts down. So he's got a complicated life ahead of him, but he's a happy little guy. He's always smiling, and yeah, he's a cool little fella. Apart from that, though. I've played video games. I've finished Mario Wonder, finished Spider-Man 2. I haven't gone all the way through Sonic Superstars yet, though. I've got it now. But it is the biggest juxtaposition to go between Mario Wonder and Sonic Superstars, because they are leagues apart. Sonic, I think, it's fine. It's okay. It plays all right. But it is just nowhere near Wonder. And I don't even know. I think just playing them side by side, one after the other, is not fair to Sonic Superstars just because of how a different league it is. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I played Sonic first, and it allows Sonic to at least stand out a little bit. But even then, I still came away with being just kind of, and that didn't even go for the BS boss at the end of the extra story, or whatever the last story is supposed to be. I know Ash came away unimpressed with the last story as well. So
Yeah.
it's it's not great. I have been playing a good bit of Mario Wonder. I just reached the final world, main
Nice.
world, so I'm going to be beating that later today. Otherwise, it's been a lot of game. It's either like the recent release and Game Club game, and recently that was Pilot Wing 64, which that episode will be coming up. So I don't want to say too much about it, but what are you? I'm curious what you think of Pilot Wing 64 and Yoshi's Story, John, because I feel like you might have
Okay.
opinions.
I don't want to upset the Yoshi Story fans, because I know they're passionate. But I've never cared for Yoshi's Story. I want to, like, I like the art style. I dig some of its direction, but I just never found that game particularly fun. Pilot Wings is tricky because it's a simulator of its time. So do you judge it within being a simulator that released in the late 90s, or do you judge it as what it is right now? And I think most games you should probably judge them for what they are now. Like, are they fun? That's the main thing that matters. Is it still fun? And I think it's still impressive. I think it's still visually impressive for N64. A lot of the vehicles do somewhat feel like they should. But I think my core answer is I think they could do so much more with the new Pilot Wings is my main takeaway. There's a lot that series can do to evolve, and 64 definitely does feel of its era.
Yeah. That sounds like a good way to put it. I obviously can't say any more than that, but just for fear of spoiling things, you got to actually watch the video and all that. But otherwise, we've been playing a bunch of Mario Wonder and trying to get some more Mario content up. By the way, if you haven't checked out Brandon's review, boy did he put a lot of effort into that. There's a lot of editing tricks in there that I couldn't even dream to pull off. So
he makes us look trash.
Yes.
He just came out of the gate with not his first big edited video, but probably his longest production yet, and it's incredibly good. He's got a proper green screen. I've only got a little oval that I put behind me every now and then. He's got a proper full size man green screen that he's put to great use in this. And he's also Brandon's been doing a lot of voiceover stuff too recently. So he's been trying to make a side gig out of doing VO as well. And you can definitely tell within his mannerisms of how he speaks. He takes things very deliberately, very clearly. Whereas when I do VO for YouTube, I just try and talk like a fella. But he's put his very professional take on everything in there. It's really good.
Yeah, it's super impressive, and for those in the UK, they might have heard you in a few commercials. I'm not sure if people are aware of that on here.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, yeah. So I am a voiceover person now. I've done commercials for Philips. That's probably my biggest client, the One Blade. So you may have actually, if you're in Europe, you may have gotten some commercials before YouTube videos with my voice in. And every now and then we get comments saying like they got a John commercial before a John video. So that's always
That's
cool.
amazing.
I've done a few lines for indie games as well. Nothing that's released yet, and it's all pretty minor stuff. But I am an announcer in an upcoming one. And they directed it to be like a Smash sort of style. So I think you'll be hearing that. I think in like a few months. I'm not entirely sure when that releases. But yeah, there's stuff happening.
Yeah, that's always exciting and cool. So I'm happy for you guys there, and yeah, I'm just like trying to get things going here and there, trying to keep it all moving as you do. And my big goal, I guess, is before we get into the Game of the Year discussions in December, I need to try to beat Tears of the Kingdom and Final Fantasy 16. Like, my God. And I feel like one of us needs to try Baldur's Gate 3.
We absolutely do. We can't approach the end of year Game of the Year discussions without playing Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
I was going to import it from PlayAsia because the physical version of that game only released in Asia for some reason. I don't know why.
Really?
It's a Western game. Yeah, it's digital only everywhere else.
I didn't realize Baldur's Gate 3 didn't have a physical release.
Yeah, just in Asia. Same thing for Alan Wake 2, which is like one of the best reviewing games of the year. It's only digital, and I don't know why. It's weird.
Yeah,
it's weird. Yeah,
I'm processing that. That makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't get it. Especially Alan Wake. That's published by Epic Games. They can afford to print some boxes.
No, they can't anymore. Can't you tell? They had to lay off so many people.
I
It's
know,
broken. Yeah. Oh, God. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm actually streaming Alan Wake Remastered right now, so I'm playing that for the first time. I'm just made it to the episode 3, and it's an interesting game. A lot more gunplay than I was expecting, but so it's not exactly a scary game in my opinion. But man, it gets mood just right.
Great atmosphere, yeah. It's been a long time since I played the original 360 version. I know the Switch version of the remaster wasn't great. I imagine you're playing on PS5?
Yes, because it was part of PS Plus for a bit. So I'm like, oh, perfect. Somebody requested this. It's Halloween. I can get it for free.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it holds up. I think it's you can tell it followed Resident Evil 4 because it wasn't that many years after it, and there's some like really great influence in there. It seems like 2 is getting a lot more psychological horror-y, which I'm pretty into.
Yeah.
But I hope some limited run firm just picks up a physical version of that because it feels like a crime that Alan Wake 2 is only digital. Like, why?
Yeah, I don't know, especially when you only have so much room in your PS5. Like I constantly have to like, all right, time to play a new game, time to delete an old one in order to actually play it. So
yeah,
I don't understand. Oh goodness. But well, before we get to the news for this week, we did get some super chats. First off, 3 from Disney Duncan for $5, and $2, saying, I saw the Five Nights at Freddy's movie last night and I enjoyed it. They have to be a fan of the series to love it. It's definitely gotten not great reviews from what I've seen, but I've also not huge into Five Nights at Freddy's. They also beat both Mario Wonder and Spider-Man 2, something John did as well. And they won't be able to join today because they have work, but they will be watching later for the VOD. So yeah, thank you so much, Disney Duncan. I appreciate that. Very much appreciated. And glad you enjoyed the movie. I'm glad you enjoyed the movie.
I think in the context of like the Mario movie, like that didn't review that well, but like those who are fans of Mario still had a good time with it. I imagine Five Nights at Freddy's is a similar thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I've thanks to Kai, I've watched the Mario movie a lot, and I can definitely point out its flaws easily.
I'm sure.
After watching it that many times, I'm very aware of its flaws. Giesel Diesel with $2. Thank you so much. Saying, which GVG member could most likely do a backflip? Honestly, I'd say Daniel.
Oh yeah, he does scream backflip. Yeah.
Yeah,
If he's got his little headband on, I'm sure that helps with the aerodynamics of a backflip.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
It's gotta
I
it's
can
gotta
definitely, I can tell you right now, I can't do a backflip. That's for sure.
yeah, it's Daniel.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. All right. Well, let's get to the news. And first off, speaking of Spider-Man 2, Sony has announced that it has sold more than 2.5 million copies in the first 24 hours, making it the fastest selling PlayStation Studios title ever. At least for now, because they keep doing this. That's one thing I noticed about this that somebody else pointed out, is that they keep changing the rules for what makes it the fastest selling game. Because before it was God of War Ragnarok, but it was such and such amount of copies in 3 days. This is 24 hours, so it's like, it's, how do you really gauge? But either way, it's selling very, very well.
It's great that Spider-Man's finally broken to the mainstream. I mean, this franchise, it's finally got video games. It's finally got movies. Man, what a world we live in. No,
No.
it genuinely is cool though. I it's been a brilliant couple of years for Spider-Man. Like it felt like we're in a bit of a lull where the comics weren't that interesting and the movies were like okay, but nothing groundbreaking. But now we've got Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse and these two Insomniac games. It generally just does feel like Spider-Man's in this great golden era. They even announced, I think it's in Ultimate Spider-Man that is in the comics, they're doing family stuff now.
Yes,
Where,
I actually
yeah.
just saw that. Go ahead. You were still talking. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I was just saying that they Mary Jane and Peter are married with kids, and this is something they never explore in the comics. They want them to be miserable, especially in the main 616 timeline. They just don't want Peter to ever have a family or ever win. So
People can't
it's
connect with that.
yeah, it's super refreshing to see this stuff. But I think this was expected for Spider-Man 2 to be the first huge. Other PS5 games have done well, but this is the big debut of what PS5 really is. Because up until now, it's been souped up versions of PS4 games, pretty much Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West. Good games for sure, but none of them are really made for PS5. Whereas this is if you own a PS5 and you haven't bought Spider-Man 2, then what are you doing? This is what you get for that console, right?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much, other than the other third-party stuff. And
Yeah.
the funny thing is, it's Insomniac holding up the PS5 because they were before Ratchet and Clank was PS5 only, not on PS4. So, what are these other studios doing? Why, put some pressure off of Insomniac here. Come on.
Well, here's a question for you and the chat: Is Insomniac the most valuable PlayStation studio?
I think so. I think so. They just have that quality at this point, and I know people are hyped up for Wolverine, and there's a lot of yeses in the live audience.
Yeah, there is. I think the thing with Insomniac is they largely make known quantities. Ratchet and Clank has been their bread and butter for 2 decades now. With these Marvel games, they are adapting actual properties that already exist. The Spider-Man formula, the open world formula, that was done by Treyarch with Spider-Man 2 on the PS2. They're very good at continuing stuff that's been done already. What they are not so great at is just brand new ideas, brand new IPs. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Wolverine, which again is an existing IP, but it's not something that's been done that much in video games. So that'll be interesting to watch. But it'd be great to see if Insomniac start to do new stuff from here on in. When Naughty Dog reveal their next game, let's say it's a new IP, it's probably going to be The Last of Us 3, but let's say it's a new IP. I think that kind of puts Naughty Dog at a different precedence, because that means that they are fully embracing new norms and new ways to make games.
Yeah.
Insomniac don't necessarily do that, but is that still more valuable? Is it still more valuable just to put out consistent known quantities that are great than it is to redefine norms? Maybe it is, especially when it takes 10 years to make those games.
Yeah, exactly. It's you can see how long it takes Naughty Dog with Last of Us and all that. So I think that consistency helps. I think it's a nice augmentation where you just have this series that is always at least good. and
Yeah.
from these guys. Like I've never played Sunset Overdrive because that was a new IP from them, and I hear good things, but I don't think it got a lot of attention. And obviously
Well, it was an Xbox One exclusive.
yeah, that didn't help. They also had that game that they made with EA where EA stripped all their personality out of it, which is
Oh, right.
that's
Yeah.
the EA way. And it'll be interesting to see how their X-Men game does, because Jamps in the patron chat actually mentioned what I was going to say. Oddly enough, best Wolverine game is X-Men Origins Wolverine, the game.
It is.
The
Yeah.
game is really good.
It's probably better than the movie.
Oh, it's definitely better than the movie. Oh gosh. But yeah, well, we'll see. I'm sure Spider-Man 2 will continue to do well. And once again, it's nice because Insomniac is definitely gotten better and better and better over the years to kill the crunch culture that used to define them. And I think they said this is once again done without crunch. So yeah. But speaking of legacy devs at this point, because my gosh, this studio is just kind of on fire in some ways. The developer of Snipperclips, way back in the launch year of the Switch, 2017, have released the demo for their next game, Crow Country. And you actually got the chance to check this out. I have not, but I have seen the screenshots where think Final Fantasy VII-ish graphics, like original Final Fantasy VII graphics, combined with Resident Evil.
Yes.
And
that's exactly what it looks and feels like. The developers, as you said, they made Snipperclips, Tangle Tower, a bunch of other stuff. They are just two guys in the UK, and they posted a picture a few months ago of like their favorite PS1 games. And it was just all the classic survival horrors. So like Parasite Eve, Resident Evil, Silent Hill. You can tell where their influence came from for this game. And it is like they have taken that sort of pre-rendered look, but made it real time. So the camera can move around in 360 degrees. So it's made to look low res, even though it's obviously not. But like, all the textures are done to look kind of pixelated, and it nails the look. And obviously you wouldn't be able to move a camera with those games, because if you were, the scenery would just break, because it's all meant to be seen from a fixed perspective. So I'd like to capture that kind of So like to capture that art style is like it's super impressive to do. And it plays well. It feels like Resident Evil without the tank controls. There's all these little silly details, like you can kick a vending machine and like handgun ammo will come out of it like a little soda machine. But yeah, it just nails the vibes, and I can't wait to play more of this game. Just very, very cool.
Yeah, interestingly enough, not coming to the Switch. It's only for PS5 and Steam right now, and that's where you can find the demo for this game at. And yeah, as other people were mentioning, SFB Games previously also made the Tangle Tower games, and man, I played Tangle Tower with Amy, and that was such a delightful game, but I want more. Like I wouldn't mind if I went back to Tangle Tower or the Detective Grimoire stuff, and that'd be nice. But I'm definitely going to keep an eye on this, because it's such a I wondered how long it would be, and then we've kind of been there for a while, but it's really starting to become apparent that we've reached that era of PS1 nostalgia where we're trying to get those type of graphics emulated again, that lo-fi look, and seeing what you can do with that style.
It's very cool. Yeah. I can't wait to see. I mean, there already is some sort of like Mega Man Legends-y looking indie games out there, but I can't wait to see just a new wave of them. Because to this day, like Mega Man Legends is, I think, artistically one of the best looking video games. And that comes down to, it's because of its limitations. It can achieve so much expression within such a limited base. And I would adore for more studios to stop pouring money into like being the best, like most polished looking experience they could be, and just embrace that kind of rough
3D cartoon look almost. Like with the rough pixel graphics rather than the actual thing. Because the Mega Man Legends, like, I will always go to bat that I think it looks better artistically than Metal Gear Solid, just because Metal Gear Solid, you have these faces going like this the entire time, like realism. And Mega Man Legends, you have these fully animated faces reacting, and like they're so vibrant. And I mean, I'm a big Legends fan to begin with, but more games like that'd be wonderful.
Like color's such an important thing. I don't think we've got this on the board, but like the Metal Gear Solid was it Triangle? What they how are they saying it?
Sigma.
Sigma,
Was it
yeah.
Sigma? I forget, but yeah, that one.
I think it
The
was
3
Sigma.
remake.
Yeah, so they revealed a proper gameplay
Delta.
showcase.
I
Delta.
got Mega Man on
They
the
revealed a
brain.
proper gameplay showcase of that game, and like it looks good. It looks very. It's pushing boundaries very clearly. However, color is not quite nailed in my opinion. So like, what one thing Metal Gear Solid 3 was very good at was giving you this sort of hazy, nostalgic look. That sort of obviously, back in the Cold War, things didn't look like they had a filter on them, but it kind of gave you that sort of era-defining
The
filter on
1910s
it.
weren't in sepia?
I'm pretty sure they were. I'm pretty sure they were. But like, the three had this sort of what's even the word? I think it's kind of a violent look at times. Like when you're on the bridge with the boss, everything is very depressing because it kind of emphasizes what's going on in that scene. And when you compare that bridge scene in Delta, it just looks colorful. It just looks like a realistic forest. And I do wonder if some of that color direction is being lost on the remake, even if it does look good. But yeah, sometimes realism like it might even be the creative lens because there's obviously a different team working on this game, and are they thinking about what color everything should be? I think it looks good, but I don't know. I think something might be being lost with this remake.
Potentially. It's a tricky one because this is a well-loved game, and a lot of times these remakes do sort of capture it. I think generally people like the Shadow of the Colossus remake. People, of course, love the Resident Evil 4 remake. But
Yeah.
it's a matter of how much you get in it. I think Demon Souls was also pretty well liked. You don't hear about it as much because, well, we got other games coming in that really kind of fill in that blank rather than the original. But yeah, well, speaking of Metal Gear Solid, we also have we got the Master Collection Volume 1 released, and various opinions on that one, whether on what they feel like that series is, but unsurprisingly, it's already been data mined, and also unsurprisingly, it includes references to what is likely going to be in the Volume 2 Master Collection, namely Metal Gear Solid 4, 5, and Peace So
It's
yeah.
good. For re-releasing is the big deal here, right? Because that's been stuck on PlayStation 3. There's also a lot of like very PS3 specific dialogue. Like I remember at one point Otacon tells you like, "Oh Snake, we gotta swap the sides of the disc," and Snake goes, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "It's a Blu-ray disc. There's no way to swap." Like that kind of stuff wouldn't work on a lot of consoles
Yeah.
today. But it's still awesome that it can leave the platform finally. What I find a bit strange is that they first they've taken Peace Walker out of the collection and put it into Volume 2, which it was already in the collection on 360, so it's kind of weird to divide that. But then we're not getting Rising, we're not getting Ghost Babel, we're not getting Portable Ops, unless there's a Volume 3 with that stuff maybe, but
I guess, but it makes it feel less exciting. I feel like it makes more sense for, Babel and Portable Ops and what have you.
Acid.
Yeah, Acid on Volume 2 to help fill out the other ones. But I mean, if they're only going for the main games, then yeah, that's sort of the way it goes. But man, what is up with my voice? I feel like I'm losing it all of a sudden. But man, a re-release of Ghost Babel would be wonderful. Like God,
That'd be amazing.
like we've never had that re-release before, and put that on NSO. Put that on NSO. Come on.
That'd be so cool, yeah. And like 5 was also I forget this all the time, but 5 was also an Xbox 360 and PS3 game. Like it had a PlayStation 4 version, but it released on 360 as well. So like there's no reason to believe that Volume 2 couldn't come to Switch, but Volume 1 already struggles on the Switch for some unknown reason.
I mean, isn't the only game that's actually physical on like if you get the physical version on Switch, isn't it like only the two smallest games on that are actually on
It's
the
the
disc?
MSX games. The MSX and NES games I'm pretty sure are on there. But like yeah, MGS1 isn't on there, MGS2 isn't on there, 3 isn't on there. And like MGS2 was a 60 FPS game on PlayStation 2. It was 60 FPS in the 360 collection. It's 30 on Switch though, for some ungodly reason.
I mean, I didn't pick it up because haven't felt inclined to replay Metal Gear Solid in a while. But I mean, I have the original Metal Gear Solid collection, so
And
that
I think
included.
I think you're fine just sticking with that.
Yeah,
And I'm pretty like chat can verify this, but I'm pretty sure even on PS5 it's still 720p like on 360, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think I think that's right. Yeah, I don't know, but
Yeah,
it's just one of those things where I mean, it's a shame because up till now the Konami collections have been really good, but
they have.
this Master Collection seems kind of bare bones.
Yeah, yeah, it's a
So
shame.
yeah,
It's cool to release the NES games. Like I don't necessarily want to play them very often, but it's cool that
no,
they put them in there.
yeah. I mean, it's a nice little idea. Uh, Speaking of not very impressive, Sonic Superstars. I'm sorry to go back to this and give them a hard time, but unfortunately they're not really selling very well in Japan. Not that that's a big surprise because Sonic really never sells well in Japan. But having it go up against Mario Wonder and Spider-Man 2, yeah, that's not going so well because as of right
Yeah.
now, it's only sold 4,128 units of physical copies in Japan. And that's specifically on the Switch, but that is the best-selling version. So their
Right.
best-selling version is on Switch and only like a little over 4,000 units.
What did we expect?
Yeah.
You know, obviously in Japan it's probably Sonic's weakest market, but even regardless, as you said, it's going up against Mario and Spider-Man.
Mhm.
If you've got a week between these games, most people are not buying a game every week. Some people only buy one game a year. And if you're going to choose between Mario and Sonic, especially Mario Wonder, um, I think it's just not an obvious choice, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it really is. Yeah, I'm curious what it's like in the West because that's kind of the real test here is like how well did Sonic Superstars sell in the West, especially with Mario and Spider-Man coming out. But I don't know. I'm not sure how
Yeah.
that's gonna.
Weirdly, here in the UK, like if you go on the Nintendo Wii shop, Sonic Superstars is £55 and Mario Wonder is £50, and like you can get them cheaper physically,
Yeah,
but Sonic is like officially from the like suggested retail price. Sonic is more expensive than Mario.
sure. Let's go with
Yeah,
that.
why would they do that?
Oh wow. Toonjay in our live audience chat saying Sonic Frontiers sold 46,276 copies in its first week on all consoles, and that was the best-selling one in 20 years in Japan.
Hmm.
Yeah, so Sonic, not really. It's funny. It's made in Japan, doesn't sell well in Japan. That is definitely for an American audience that really grasped onto this character.
Yeah,
So
I don't know what it is about Sonic that doesn't land with Japanese people.
I don't
Like,
either. Maybe it's his
yeah,
attitude. Like he's more has more attitude than cuteness. I'm not
maybe.
sure. Or yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, man, we're just killing the segues tonight because everybody's talking about it's still not Superstar is still not as good as Mania. Well, we have a new game from the Mania team, Penny's Big Breakaway, which
Oh
looks like just
yeah.
a fun little 3D platformer. Very different take from what you'd expect from from the continuation of Mania. You'd think something like a I'm blanking on it the the Galaxy one from the like the Dragon Girl Sonic like game.
Well, Freedom Planet?
Freedom Planet. Why did I
No?
think
Yeah.
Galaxy? Yeah, Freedom Planet. Something like Freedom Planet, where there's like, let's take our Sonic knowledge and make our Sonic off-brand indie game. But no, they
Yeah.
went 3D platform with this, with Penny's Big Breakaway and a big yo-yo gimmick. Still music by T. Lopes, and we're going to get a first look at the gameplay on October 29th at 7 p.m. Pacific time as part of Indieland 2023.
Cannot wait for this. For those who don't remember, this is also in a Nintendo Direct, like the previous one, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks so good. You just say the studio's name, and I trust them regardless. I don't need to see the game. I know they're going to nail it.
Uh,
They are so talented. And they seem to really respect the Saturn era. Like Sonic Mania wasn't really a Mega Drive follow-up. That was like a Sonic made on the Sega Saturn almost. Like it was just fully embracing those more vibrant backgrounds, more visceral, like turning animations and everything. And this, what I really like though, is kind of what you just said. It doesn't feel like they're making a 3D Sonic here. They're kind of making their own thing. Like there's influence from Sonic, sure, but they very much made their own IP with its own gimmicks, its own potential. It looks rad. Can't wait to see more of this.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one to keep an eye out for, especially if you're that platformer fan. There's been a bunch of 3D platformers that people have really latched onto, and I can just see it just expanding even more from there. I'm excited to see what it has. There's, unsurprisingly, 2024 has a lot of fun-looking games coming. Who knew?
It does. Yeah. We thought 2023 was enough, but no, 2024 is just piling them up.
I saw somebody, I think it was Kat or Nadia on Twitter, saying like last year, oh thank God Tears of the Kingdom was delayed, so I don't have to try to rank it next to Elden Ring as game for the game of the year. This year, Baldur's Gate 3 says hello.
Well, when Tears of the Kingdom came out, it felt like that was a lock for Game of the Year, and it probably is still like a big contender. But now it's not even just Baldur's Gate 3. There's like maybe 7 games competing for that #1 spot.
Yeah,
I don't know how I'd rank them, but man, it's gonna be tough this year.
Yeah, and I've not played them all, but I want to try to get through as many as I can so I can just see what it has to offer. But yeah. So looking forward to seeing that gameplay. I don't know if we'll be doing a reaction to Indie Land, to be honest. I'm not 100% sure on that. We haven't really talked about it, so
yeah, we'll see.
It's also very late. What was that? It's like 7 p.m. Pacific time.
Okay.
So that's pretty early in the morning for you, John.
Pretty early, yeah. Well, we'll see. Ash tends to not sleep, so maybe he'll make it.
That's true. It's 10 p.m. for me. It only goes for an hour. It only goes for an hour at the very least. So yeah, but it'd be 10 to 11 for us East Coasters, and you're 5 hours ahead of me, so that's 3 a.m.
Don't like that.
I don't think that's gonna happen. You're just gonna wake up and see what it's all about.
Yeah.
And yes, Gerard was the one who made Indie Land, so that's it's cool to see him grow and thrive.
Yeah, he's doing so well lately.
You know what's not growing and thriving? At least not anymore.
What's that?
The Nintendo tournament scene.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. Oh no, indeed. Steve put out a massive update talking about all this, but Nintendo has essentially updated their guidelines for Smash tournaments, and it has essentially killed the tournament scene. As far as like thanks to some highlights pointed out by SSB Gyromite on Twitter, it limits the size of registration fees to 2,000 yen or $13 US. Limits offline tournaments to a size of 200 entrants or less. There are sponsor and monetization restrictions, and you can't offer cash prizes. What the hell?
Yeah, so this essentially also means that Nintendo games can't be an Evo, right?
Yeah, I mean, they took them from Evo last time because Ultimate was a mainstay of Evo for a while, and they were not there last year. So, yeah. Oh, gosh, I didn't even think I realized this. Professor Bonk, you can't even sell food and drinks anymore, even if you don't make a profit from it. Yeah.
And Hasselborn makes a good point. So they said, also some new policies will really hurt, she says, and boundary breaks. So basically there's a policy out there saying that you can't be using modified software for videos, which would mean if you were to like make a camera that moves around, that probably is infringing on that right. It's tricky because like with She Says, I think you can technically make an argument that it's for educational purposes because it is. There are game developers out there that learn a lot from Boundary Break and how other developers make games. I think there's a lot of value there, but also I don't think Nintendo are going to care. I think they're just going to say no, you're using our game illegally, so no.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Will they do like copyright strikes or remove the video? That's hard to say what they'll actually do. to that. But yeah, modded games are always a little bit of a tricky thing, and some developers are okay with it, publishers are okay with it, like Capcom and Sega, as long as you don't try to profit from it. But Nintendo is like, no, we got to keep our secrets. They are all about those secrets.
Shime says, are randomizers included? I'm going to say yeah. I'll say
probably.
They are.
I mean, the thing that makes it tricky is it's very loose language. You could make an argument. They could make an argument for it. Yeah, this applies. If they don't like it. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to go after everything. I think if there is content out there that's actively hurting them, they can then make the excuse of, well, this is infringing our rights. I don't think they're going to go after every YouTube channel that breaks these rules. Because even in the worst days of Nintendo, where they basically demonetized a bunch of people's videos, they weren't doing it to everybody. No. Like I remember, like back at our previous channel, we were still like re-uploading trailers and things just fine. So it definitely isn't a one glove fits all approach. So if just from previous experience, I would say this isn't going to destroy everybody. But when they
might be unfortunate victims.
Yeah, definitely. If they want to make an example of someone, they will.
Yeah, that's all it really takes to just put that fear out there. Like, oh God, they're really going to do it. It could be me, so I don't know if I should do this. So, yeah, it's a tricky thing. It sucks. It's not a good look for Nintendo.
No,
but it's Nintendo.
Yeah,
as we say, Nintendo's going to Nintendo. We like their games, but boy, they could be really dumb.
Yeah, there's so little more to say about it, really. Like, it just feels. It's just disappointing. Like, you get all these people so passionate about Nintendo. Like, I've got some big Splatoon friends who, they ever since Splatoon 1, they have been doing these local community tournaments together. One guy is like, he runs and looks after that community, and he's just so hurt by this. Because they're not causing any harm. They're just playing Splatoon together as friends. But because I think they do charge for, to run the tournament, to even like get anything running, to get venues and everything, they have to charge for tickets. And this is basically going to stop them. And like it does feel a bit malicious.
Yeah, it really does. It's a shame.
Yeah,
it's a shame. Well, that's it for the news this week, and we did get a few more super chats. First up, the Pixel Tavern with £5, their first super chat as well. Thank you so much. Saying, you've both been a part of a few successful YouTube channels, and they just hit 1,000 subs on their YouTube channel, but are struggling to hit 4,000 watch hours. Any advice how to reach that? I mean...
It depends what kind of videos you're doing. I would definitely recommend going for long form if you want to hit that sort of 4,000 hour mark, whether that is a podcast format or just making a really high quality long video, which is obviously easier said than done. But yeah, if you're making like 2-minute videos or 3-minute videos, it's going to take you a long time to hit 4,000 hours.
Yeah, you definitely got to go for that at least 15 to 20 minutes to really hit that. Think of those ideas based on what you're doing for your channel, and just try to come up with stuff. The thing I always like to advise is like find your niche and really focus on that, and they can sort of find a way to grow, because people will discover that niche, and sometimes that niche can be very niche, but you'll still find an audience.
It's important, because if you're just doing the same thing as everyone else, then people aren't really gonna seek you out, Like let's do an example. Like with Mario Wonder, if we did a traditional review of that game, which we didn't get beforehand, we'd be competing with like 50 outlets who've already done a Mario Wonder review. So if we made a video called Super Mario Wonder Review, we're just another drop in a very big bucket. So I liked Brandon's approach of he did review the game, but he didn't necessarily call it a review. And he kind of did it in his own style. I think there's way more value to that stuff. So maybe think in that kind of perspective.
And sometimes the niche can work out. Like our most viewed video right now is still the Shin Megami Tensei retrospective. And Shin Megami Tensei is not exactly a wide game. Like I called it Shin Megami Tensei, not Persona. So Persona is a way more known. in the among, I guess, the masses, I guess is the best way to put it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, good luck. It's tough, but good luck. Absolutely. Congrats on the 1,000 subs, though. That's a big thing to hit.
Yeah.
I'd say that's tougher to hit.
It's a big milestone.
Because
Yeah.
4,000 watch hours will happen eventually. It will happen eventually. Next up, Leo Flo with $5 saying, what Marvel character would you like to see Insomniac do after Wolverine? I'd like to see a horror game with Elsa Bloodstone or Ghost Rider.
Ooh, Ghost Rider's a good pick.
That is a good one. You know what? I'd like to see something that we've not seen a lot of, and I'm definitely pulling old school. I don't even know how relevant they are in the comics anymore. But I'd love to see a Runaways game.
That'd be cool too. I'm gonna go with Quake from Agents of Shield.
Sure.
I think that'd be a cool power. She like basically just does like little wind earthquakes from her hands. I think you can make her fly. You can make her push things with like almost like telekinesis. That'd be a good game.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah, give him Hulk. We'll get a new Ultimate Destruction open world game.
That'd be neat.
Ooh, Doctor Strange could be interesting. Go get all weird with it. Next up, Infinite Histories with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Also, their first super chat. I really do appreciate it. Saying, hey GVG, since John's here, I wanted to ask, what is your favorite Europe exclusive games? My sister's in the UK and got me Tinkle's Rosy Rupee Land.
Well, luckily for you, we've got a video out there on Europe exclusive games.
I forgot you did that.
I did, yeah. Off the top of my head, like they're not all coming to me, but a cool one that's releasing worldwide soon is Another Code. And I know you guys got the DS one, but Another Code R is extremely good, and that's finally coming to the Americas in February. I want to say January.
Yeah, I think February.
Okay, yeah, that's a very, very good game. So Tingle's also a great one. It's great to hear that you've got that, but Another Code is definitely worth checking out. And I hope a lot of people do when that comes to the Switch, because it's it came out in like what 2011, 2010 on the Wii.
Something like
it's been over a decade. I can't wait to have people talking about this series again.
Yeah, I'm excited to try it out because I never played the original, but I love the looks, the look of this, and it's like yes, let's do it.
And Professor Bonk says Last Window. Yeah, that's the Hotel Dusk sequel that we got. So it is literally a follow-up to Hotel Dusk. Same art style, same gameplay, just a different story. That's also very, very good.
Huh. Very cool. I just brought up a list of Europe exclusive games. Try out Bolo. It's a breakout clone on MS-DOS. Came out.
There you go.
Came out.
Yeah,
for Europe.
We've all played that here. Everyone in Europe has played that game. Yeah.
Widely popular Bolo for Europe. All right. Well, thank you so much for those super chats. Really do appreciate it. But now it's time to move on to our patron topics. And this week, just to have the two of us. And John, let's go ahead and start with you because I just realized I didn't actually pick one out. I was too busy getting things set up. Uh-oh.
Okay. Here we go. Let me find it.
I think yours was from Darksteel 01.
It was, yeah. Yes. Darksteel 01. He says, "Hey guys, this is a very easy one to read, just one sentence. Hey guys, what are your top secret or optional bosses in video games?" And I thought this was a good question, because especially RPGs tend to have a lot of secret bosses. And there is a cool one coming up that I don't want to spoil, because people will be playing this game for the first time soon, in Mario RPG, and I can't wait for people to talk about that again. But From Software are also very, very good at this. And Elden Ring's packed full of optional bosses, but I want to focus on Bloodborne, because the actual final boss is optional. So you can finish the game normally, have a great time, but if you find all of the umbilical cords, you can actually focus on the actual final boss, which is just this more higher stake ending, and it's just a completely different boss that I'm sure most players missed. And I just think it's so cool that you can have something so expensive feeling that most players will never see in their run. It just kind of makes it feel special. But yeah, I think that's my favorite one. But Mario RPG is also a very cool one. And I'm sure Final Fantasy has tons.
Oh gosh, yes. I
And
mean, first thing that comes to
yeah.
my mind when I think optional bosses is always going to be the ruby and emerald weapons. I never
Oh,
beat
of
them.
course.
I never beat them, but
Oh,
I couldn't do it. I was my first RPG and I was still trying to figure it out. And I'm like, I didn't know the tactics, and I've never gone back to try again. So
it's probably easy in the modern versions because like, you can like click down on the right analog stick or something and get all your health back, can't you?
yeah, I guess that's true. So
Just choose them.
I never got Knights of the Round. I had a friend show me his copy where he had Knights of the Round. And we sat there for what 5 minutes watching the animation play out. But
Uh,
yeah, um, but
it's something
that was
I wish Zelda did this more. I wish there was like just
yeah
a dungeon that you didn't have to go to, just some optional dungeon. I guess the color dungeon in Link's Awakening is kind of optional, but I wish they just did like a traditional Zelda and there was just some weird dungeon that's not connected to the story. It has a cool item in, but it's so unnecessary that you never need to go there. But I wish they would do something like that.
hmm I think one of the I mean kind of the king of optional bosses for a while, at least in my circles, was of course Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2.
Oh right, yeah.
It's like
Uh-huh.
because it was just such a big deal because 7 hadn't quite flooded the market yet. It was our first experience getting Sephiroth back and Cloud back with the original Kingdom Hearts and being able to actually fight him and being like, oh god, he's tough. It felt like a big
Yeah.
accomplishment when I actually did beat him. So that's always a that stands out to me as another really good optional boss. I'm trying to think of other ones.
I think Tears of the Kingdom with the hands is kind of an optional boss. Those shadow hands that come out.
Ain't that the truth?
Because you don't have to fight them. Like you'll probably encounter them at some point, but you can always run away from them. But if you manage to take them on, the first encounter's terrifying. Once you've done it a few times, I think it becomes a bit formulaic and you can figure it out quite easily. But that first time finding them is
You're like,
shocking.
what the hell
Like,
is
it's
going on?
terrifying. Yeah, like you finally get rid of those hands, and then the second instance comes out, and you're like, what is this?
It blew my mind. I'm like, I was not prepared for it whatsoever. But I
Yeah,
realized I couldn't even get onto a high ledge and just shoot them with arrows because they revived health. I'm like, oh, this sucks.
yeah, yeah.
Neo's pointing out Donkey Kong and Punch Out. I was never good enough in Punch Out to get through the second set of matches, so I've never taken on Donkey Kong.
It's a cool one though. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm going to stay with the season, and we got a question here from Zombie Joe saying, hey, GVG crew, with the spookiest day of the year right around the corner, I was wondering what game do you think has some of the scariest lore out there? Personally, I think Dead by Daylight is one of the scariest. People, monsters, and ghosts are picked through various times and timelines and brought to a realm by an ancient god called the Entity. There are survivors. The survivors are forced to run from the killers and either escape or get caught over and over again, while the Entity feeds on their hopes and despair until nothing is left and the survivors become nothing more than empty shells. Plus, they're stuck with Nicolas Cage. So yeah, the game with the scariest lore. I feel like you have to really dig deep to find like some really, really scary lore. But honestly, one of the first things that kind of went back that I thought of when this came up was actually Dead Space. Well, I don't find Dead Space to be too scary and like upon playing it, you're just too powerful for it. The original Dead Space and learning like you got to cut off the limbs and what happened to this place, and you get that the Event Horizon kind of lore to it that really emphasizes like something wrong happened here.
Yeah.
It really ups the kind of creepy vibes of the whole thing. I was trying to think of Silent Hill. I've only really played Silent Hill 2, but the lore I got from Silent Hill isn't exactly scary to me. It's more almost like the town wants to teach a lesson to horrible people, almost in some
Sure.
way.
Yeah. It's not a horror game, but I think Pikmin's lore is deeper than it seems. So I think if you play Pikmin for the first time, you're like, okay, I'm just a small little guy on this big world. But then the more you play it, like, oh, like this is like civilization. This is like Earth. Like you get all the actual products from our times. Like what happened to us? I think that the more you sort of think about Pikmin, the more creepy it seems, despite not really having creepy themes to it in most cases. But yeah, I think you make an argument for Pikmin's quite a scary game when you really dig into it.
Although also the most devious villain of all time, Louis.
Yeah. uh,
A lot of people are saying how Kirby's lore can get pretty horrifying. Yeah, you got that juxtaposition. I think that can work out
yeah.
when you got this happy-go-lucky thing, and all of a sudden here's the dark undertones to it that just like I don't know about that. I have to assume Bloodborne, Dark Souls probably has some pretty creepy lore to go off of.
Bloodborne in particular, yeah. Dark Souls has a lot of sad characters. It's kind of more of a depressing game. Bloodborne has a lot of religion stuff. Like it's more like cult sort of background to it, but it does get very creepy, especially the more you pay attention. Because if you just sort of play the game, I think it's all like some people play Bloodborne and be like, "Was there a story?" But the more you pay attention, like, oh yeah, there definitely is. There's definitely stuff that's happening off screen that isn't like directly told to you. But yeah, it definitely gets creepy. Topaz Pikachu also says Splatoon lore, which yeah, totally. Splatoon's kind of in a similar position to Pikmin, where it's clearly you're living in a humanity that's been left behind, and it's post-apocalyptic despite everyone grooving and wearing fresh kits.
Yeah.
It is a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah. Oh, as a lot of people are saying, pointing out Pokemon, and it's if you actually read the lore of some of the Pokemon, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Actually, Vedron James here reminds me. Have you tried out Lies of P?
Not as much as I should have.
I feel like that'd be your type of game because you love Bloodborne so much, and
Yeah.
I was actually kind of shocked because I don't know if you pay attention to him much, but Max Dude said that Lies of P is actually his game of the year.
I'm not surprised. There's definitely a list of games that I need to play more of before the year ends, and Lies of P is pretty high up there. I liked what I played, but it just came at a busy time. Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to think of other, like, I'm just looking at my thing here to see what kind of other creepy lore we got, but I think it really comes down to sort of like the disturbing aspects of a game. I think if it's like, because you can have like Resident Evil, and then Resident Evil's, I mean, it's just a pharmaceutical company. It's not that scary on its face.
Yeah.
It's the disturbing aspects, the unfortunate aspects, and honestly, I'll put that here. So, Final Fantasy XIV. I just got the Shadowbringers expansion, and I encountered what people will say is probably referred to as that scene early on, and all I'll say is Alice's story, the end of Alice's story. And yeah, that's the implications there of what's happening there. Holy hell. Like there's some dark implications for that. So
I wish I had the benefit like you of looking around my room and seeing games, because all I see right now is just bathroom products. Like to my right, I've got just a Paw Patrol Marshall bubble bath. Does Paw Patrol have scary lore? Maybe it does.
I mean, potentially. I don't. Didn't you say Amelia cried? Like she got all like concerned about the characters?
In the Paw Patrol movie, because Chase gets kidnapped and she started bawling. We had to put on regular Paw Patrol to show her that Chase was okay.
So concerned. Oh my gosh. So we went to a neighbor's, like they just had a little barbecue, and we were in their house, just chatting it up and whatnot. And Kai was with us, and they had put on Netflix, and of all things, Boss Baby was on there.
Okay.
We've never shown it to him or anything like that. I've never seen it, and there's a scene where like the older kid is slowly making his way to the room where the Boss Baby's first learns that he's actually talking. The movie Toon J, and like it's actually set kind of creepy, and Kai's watching it and just like like he's actually legit freaked out. Like I've never seen him like that before, where he's just like kind of like nervous about what's happening. Like he started like shaking a little bit. Like he was really concerned.
Oh.
So yeah.
Professor Bonk says, isn't there a scene in the Paw Patrol movie where where they shoot through the robot's abdomen? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one, but yeah, there's Boss Baby lore. There's the ultimate lore of scary things. Oh goodness. But I think that about covers it for our bathroom stream for John. And for those wondering why John is in the tub, it's because we got a lot of very generous donations that got five of the six of us in a tub. It's happened to Steve, it's happened to Ash, it's happened to me, it's happened to John. Now we just need I believe either Brandon or Daniel.
And the angle I'm in, it was comfortable at first. It's become more and more uncomfortable as it's gone on.
Yeah.
My spine, I don't think it's there anymore. I'm eager to get out of this tub.
Yeah, I believe that. So we're gonna wrap that up here, so John can, move. Essentially.
Yeah, so I can move again.
Yeah. So thank you all so much for watching. Really is appreciated. It's just, fun show, fun little thing. It's nice to have John on here again, despite him being in the tub. So
Benji Bear Pup says we need all of you in the same tub. Now that's the next goal.
Oh yeah, there you go. You have to really donate for that because you need plane tickets and whatnot because we are very far away.
GVG hot tub stream.
Yeah, there we go. Hot there. Now you're talking. Although being in a hot tub for as long as you are, some of us will pass out, I think. Oh goodness. All right. Well, as always, thank you all so much for joining us. Really is appreciated. And of course, we have to give an extra special thank you to our patrons at the producer tier. Really couldn't make this happen without all of your help, and it's all appreciated. Definitely, just majorly, thank you so much. That's really what it comes down to. And of course, an extra special super thank you to all of our executive producers, which include Brandon Bovia, Cutie Caitlin, Fangs, Z Patty, Sky Blue Flames, Eastman23, Adam O'Sullivan, Richard Herrera, Logan Daniel, The D-Pad, Blake, Joy Content, Angel Martinez, Vedron, Joshua Hunter, Benny Yao, Azran127, Black King, Joseph Rutkin, Titus Malvolio, Geeky Griffin, Lucky Wonderfish, Wataniac, Top Dog 23100, Young Ben Kenobi, Andrew Medeiros, Darchi, Becca, Michael McCall, Matthew Wong, Goron Amber CPHT, Too Much Spaghetti, Bane 400, Ascaron 809, Rioner, Rain and Clouds, The Game Orb, Super Gamer Dude 101, Grantles, Ravelox, Rosa Pardo Bowling, hi Steve's mom, Skull Kid Tiger, Darksteel 01, Jason Uloa, Jaden Buck, Cystic Warrior 29, DJ Jurassic, Derek, excuse me, I'm so used to the old one, Colin, Mumbling Yeti, Cameron Sharp, Keel, Brendan Hesse, Hustlebun, Noah Fitterer, Calvin Atkinson, Brainchild, the entire state of Wisconsin, Jim Wakelin, Longboy Shiggy, Aramis Baramis, Kyle the Monarch, Dan Alpha Lion, Lord Metarex, Blaze Collard, Eric, CatTV Person 5, Peyton Thiel, Mega Beatman True Blue Reviews, Young Ant, Ryan Hanley, The Game Jamie, Alex, and Zombie Joe. Thank you all so much. And real quick, I also just realized I completely missed a super chat from Stacy UK. I thought I read it, but it turns out I did not. I apologize for that. For £5, thank you so much. Sorry about having the intro in there. I forgot to turn it off. Saying, hey guys, nice seeing John in the tub. The tournament rules have negative accessibility implications. See next post. So the official adaptive controller from Hori is allowed, but the peripherals needed to go with it, like joysticks and buttons, are made by Logitech, so not allowed under new rules. It's messy. Ugh. It just sounds worse and worse.
Yeah.
That is pretty awful. So thank you so much for that. It sucks all around. It's not a good idea by Nintendo, but oh well. Hopefully, well, I say hopefully they reverse course. They're not going to reverse course. This is Nintendo.
Make a big enough noise, maybe, but it's unlikely, isn't it?
Yeah, it very much is. But either way, Thank you for all so much for joining us. We will see you next week for the next GVG cast. So until then, everyone, take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.